Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com, and welcome to This Week in Prophecy. This week, we've got the IDF into southern Gaza. We have some more Red Sea piracy. This seems to be escalating. Quakes and Pestilence, the Pacific Ring of Fire with the quakes. And we got some weather, some snow. We're gonna talk about some anti-Semitism. Now that's clearly been on the rise recently with the happenings and goings on between Israel and Hamas. And we're going to take a look at some comments from a congressional hearing and some presidents of Ivy League schools. Pretty remarkable stuff. We'll get there, but for now, we're going to start off with 1 Samuel 17, verse 4. And there came out from the camp of the Philistines a champion named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. So, for those of you who are not familiar, for you're new to the post here, Goliath was an ancient Philistine. He was roughly 9 feet tall, so a cubit, modern day cubit, about 1.5 inches, 18 inches. So 6 times 1 1/2, we get 9 feet. And a span, a few inches. So dude was over 9 feet tall. If you read the text a little further, it gives you an idea of the girth of the creature. He had some pretty heavy armor on him, so we won't get into that, but that's the idea. So we're going to take a look at the modern day. Of course, now we have Gaza down here in the southwest of the map. Now, ancient Philistia, as the Bible is concerned, you'll hear it called Palestine, Philistia, Philistines, etc. That kind of encompassed an area, loosely follow the cursor, more of a region. They didn't have borders like we do today. And a lot of people think in this area, Kiryat Gat, in what is modern day Israel, is probably ancient Gath. That's where Goliath was from. So we're talking about this area. Most of it was the coastline, the areas of the coastline, ancient Philistia. So that's what we're talking about when we read those things in the Bible. And to this day, the geography remains an area of conflict. So, and here's the latest. This is the Gaza map update from War Mapper on X, formerly known as Twitter. The IDF has advanced into southern Gaza, now taking up positions on the central road into Khan Yunis. So here are the positions we're talking about. This area, Khan Yunis, took some serious weaponry over the last few days. The coast road remains passable for the time being. So you can see the areas that are surrounded here in red, where they are warning people you need to get out. Also, I've seen some things where they being the IDF, starting to pump seawater into some of the tunnels. And Israel has resumed attacks in the north near Jabalia. And this would be the areas they're talking about up north. Get out, because this is where we're going next. They are telling people where they're going. So that's your latest War Mapper update. And then also, if you want to take another look at this, here is Israel, the scope of it here on the left. We're talking about this area down here in the Gaza Strip. And this is what it looks like when we color code it. Israel out here in the blue, Israeli operations within Gaza. That's where things stand. I think this was as of December 4th, so a couple of days ago. I've not seen anything updated since then. So here we are on the 6th. But it gives you an idea of what's going on. With that, we're going to transition to the Red Sea, Jeremiah 49:21. At the sound of their fall, the earth shall tremble. The sound of their cry shall be heard at the Red Sea, and that fall would be the sheep or Israel, nation Israel. And we are going to back out here, give you a little idea. The Red Sea, we're talking about down here near Yemen, off the Horn of Africa, is where some of these things are taking place, what we're going to get into with U.S. Central Command. For attacks against 3 separate commercial vessels operating in international waters in the southern Red Sea. These 3 vessels are connected to 14 separate nations. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Carney responded to the distress calls from the ships and provided assistance. Sana'a, that would be, let's go down here. There you go. You get an idea where that's located, so you can see where this is taking place in the Red Sea. Carney detected anti-ship ballistic missiles attack fired from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen toward the MV Unity Explorer, impacting in the vicinity of the vessel. Unity Explorer is a Bahamas-flagged, UK-owned and operated bulk cargo ship crewed by sailors from 2 nations. The Carney was conducting a patrol in the Red Sea and detected the attack on the Unity Explorer. About roughly 3 hours later, international waters engaged and shot down a UAV launch. So we had a drone was headed toward Carney, although the specific target is not clear. Cannot access at this time whether the Carney was a target of the UAVs. There was no damage. They didn't waste any time. They shot it down over international waters, allegedly. 35 minutes later, Unity Explorer reported they were struck by a missile fired from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. Carney responded to the distress call. Carney detected another inbound UAV, destroying the drone with no damage or injuries on the Carney or Unity Explorer. Minor damage from the missile strike. Later that day, 3:30, MV number 9 was struck by a missile fired from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. Shipping lanes of the Red Sea. Panamanian-flagged Bermuda and UK-owned and operated bulk carrier reported damage and no casualties. 4:30, this was quite a day. MV Sophie 2 distress call, stating they were struck by a missile. Carney again responded to the distress call. Reported no significant damage. Carney shot down another drone. Sophie 2, Panamanian-flagged bulk carrier. Sailors from 8 countries. These attacks represent a direct threat to international commerce and maritime security. They've jeopardized the lives of international crews representing multiple countries around the world. We also have every reason to believe that these attacks, while launched by Houthis in Yemen, are fully enabled by Iran. U.S. will consider all appropriate responses in full coordination with its international allies and partners. So again, activity escalating down here in the southern Red Sea off the coast of Yemen. And the Houthis, Iranian-backed, believed to be those responsible. Luke 21, verse 11, part A, there will be great earthquakes and in various places, famines and pestilences. The Philippines has experienced an active seismic week, 2 earthquakes over 7.0 magnitude, plus over 100 more aftershocks. It's way more than that, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. This is from Live Storm Chasers on X. Give you an idea what we're looking at. You can see all the different quakes, ranging, in scale from 4.0 upwards to 7.6. We had a 7.7 somewhere in there. In and around the Philippines. At the same time of increased quake activity in the Philippines, Indonesia experienced a significant volcanic eruption in West Sumatra, Mount Merapi. Death toll from that eruption currently stands at 22. So here's the link from the USGS and just give you an idea of what we're talking about here. In the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Australia down here to the south, we have Thailand, Cambodia, there's Bangkok, Philippines right here. Here's the cluster of quakes that we showed from here, located here. And Western Sumatra is located here in Indonesia. So, and this is where the big earthquake was. We'll tighten in a little bit. Whoops, I went too far. Give you a better idea. Jakarta, for those of you who are not familiar, in Indonesia, is located down here in the kind of south central area. And there's another earthquake, another volcano, Merapi, which is located on the island of Java. That's spelled Merapai, different than Marapai, Marapai. So you may see that some folks are reporting that was on the big island of Java. No, it was in Sumatra, is where this has taken place. And here's this is from AccuWeather, from Indonesia's volcanic. Reuters. This is insane when you watch this. Now, at the time of this, 11 killed up to 22 as of the latest thing I have seen. And Reuters, Merapi, Merapi. It's Marapi or Pai, as I've seen it spelled in some places. But two different places in Indonesia. We're interested in Mara, not Mera. Anyway. Going to transition, into the pestilence part of Luke's comments. 4 to 5 days ago, there was a coordinated media effort to scare the hell out of the world and the planet with news regarding, quote, white lung syndrome. This outbreak originated in China, of course. Now here we are 4 or 5 days later. The press, crickets. Radio silence. They coordinated in bringing it up and talking about it, and now they're saying nothing. Now Massachusetts says it's being hit by a wave of pneumonia in children as Ohio County issues white lung warning after China and Europe saw a surge in cases and hospitalizations. Spike in cases meets their definition of an outbreak. Spread raised fears of an American outbreak that's currently tearing through China. And our Congress demands the CDC hand over its data on the China outbreak, and probably they haven't done that. I don't know. And you can email the Daily Mail, see if your child has suffered from pneumonia. I don't know why people would turn to the Daily Mail to not want to go to a doctor. Anyway, here's some of the pictures on the Ohio River in Ohio, Warren County, just north and east of Cincinnati. And then on the Connecticut-Massachusetts border as well. So, but again, this all kinds of drama, and then nothing. It's been quiet. Go figure. I get the sense that may or may not come back. I suppose if it'll draw some clicks, they might be interested. So, and with that, we're going to transition to anti-Semitism. It's on the rise around the world, and a lot of that has to do with the events taking place in the Holy Land within the Hamas and the Gaza Strip and Israel. And I think this was yesterday, 12/5 congressional hearings were held with presidents of Harvard, Penn, and MIT. And these three presidents, three ladies, are charged with the job of overseeing the education of the best and brightest students. I need to go back and do some editing there. Congressman, this is from Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. She's a Harvard alum. Had multiple rounds of questions for the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and the University of Pennsylvania for their failure to condemn anti-Semitism and anti-Israel rhetoric on campus. Now, that's taken from her website. For that link, you can go here, For those of you who want to see the entirety of this interview, highly recommend going to Congresswoman Stefanik's website. Get the whole thing. I'm going to take a snippet of it. It's about 3 minutes. And this would be from Bill Ackman. For those of you who are not familiar with Bill Ackman, he is the CEO of Pershing Square. Bill is a billionaire, runs a hedge fund, and his job is to make money. Period. End of discussion. And he is not known for his morals and scruples. However, he makes some pretty good comments, and it just kind of struck me as, okay, we have come to a time and place in our history where a guy whose sole focus in life is to make money and is kind of not exactly a friend of many on Wall Street with some of his history. My opinion, of others watching him make comments, take it or leave it, do your own homework. Some would say he's a greedy capitalist. Fine, whatever. But this guy's got some moral clarity on this issue. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying or harassment? And again, this is Ackman's post. The answers they gave reflect the profound moral bankruptcy of Presidents Gay, McGill, and Kornbluth. Representative Adelise Stefanik was so shocked with the answers that she asked each of them the same question over and over again, and they gave the same answers over and over again. In short, they said this is a pretty good summation of what happened. It depends on the context and whether the speech turns into conduct, that is actually killing the Jews. So it's okay to say these things and say anti-Semitic stuff until it becomes conduct or actually killing Jews. Then we'll look into it. And he makes the comment, this could be the most, he being Ackman, this could be the most extraordinary testimony ever elicited in the Congress, certainly on the topic of genocide, which remind us all is the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that was going on 20s, 30s, and 40s prior to World War II and before Hitler and his actions. We're watching it happen in our time. Here we are roughly 80 to 100 years later. Here it is again. And these presidents' answers reflect the profound educational, moral, and ethical failures that pervade certain of our elite educational institutions, due in large part to their failed leadership. I agree with him 100%. Don't take my word for it. And I would tell you guys the same thing. Don't take my word for it. Go watch this stuff yourself. And his cut's about 3 minutes. And by the end of it, he thinks you will agree with him. He says he being Ackman, says they must all resign in disgrace. If a CEO of one of our companies gave a similar answer, he or she would be toast within the hour. Boy, that is 100% true. Where's the woke crowd on this? I mean, imagine singling this stuff out. Insert your group of people, your ethnic group of people or religious group of people. And if you heard comments about said group of people, can you imagine the drama that would occur with that? I mean, holy cow. I mean, I'll let you guys pick it. I'll get in trouble if I say one. Told I'm not very sensitive by social media outlets. Anyway, leaders like Presidents Gay, McGill, and Kornbluth, who believe genocide depends on the context. And to think these are the leaders of Ivy League institutions that are charged with the responsibility to educate our best and brightest. On the bright side, congressional leaders deserve accolades for showing tremendous leadership and moral clarity in their statements by the questions they asked and the respectfulness with which they conducted the hearing. So, masterclass of how our government and democracy should operate. And I would agree. You got 3 minutes, listen to this. It's over the top. And she's in disbelief. Congresswoman Stefanik's in disbelief with their answers. Now, they stick to their guns, and how they respond to these things. You can just watch watch her body language, how this goes, and her facial expressions. Here these presidents of these Ivy League institutions are surrounded. You can tell they've been coached by lawyers, and she sits there and kind of smiles about it, talking about being pinned down on anti-Semitism like it's funny. I mean, that's the thing with these people who want to single out Jewish people. Someday it could be them. It's okay as long as they are the ones who are determining who should live, who should die, who you can persecute, talk bad about. Freedom means freedom for all, not just for who you think deserves freedom. And these folks think they're above it. That's what's so irritating. And she's getting a pretty good grilling, rightfully so, by the congresswoman here. Now look at this. Watch this woman's face when the camera goes back to her. Look at her grinning. Look at her. She thinks she's so cute. Talking, using all these fancy words and terms and talking around the answer. Straightforward answer. Yes or no. Can you answer it? No is the answer. They can't. They just talk around topics under the guise of freedom of speech, but whatever. Anyway, we'll get off that soapbox. So, worth a watch. And lastly, we're going to go to Job 38, verses 22 through 23. Now, this is a verse from a long time ago. I used to look at this verse. Oh, geez. 25 years ago. This just used to perplex me. God talking to Job, have you entered the storehouses of the snow, or have you seen storehouses of the hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? So, I mean, clearly it appears the context is the end time scenario, and I'd always thought, judgment by fire. Well, that's true too, but there are extremes. There will be extremes, and fire and ice is the idea. Ultimately, that judgment of this planet will come by fire, but you can have all kinds of crazy weather and events taking place during this time. And I suspect this will be true too. Storehouses of snow and hail. And if you watch the weather, we're starting to get hail in all kinds of places where there typically hasn't been hail. And we had a pretty good little pile of snow build up in Europe, has been building up in Europe. And going back to recent events, recent history, there hasn't been snow like this in 10, 15 years, around 2010. And I love this. Heavy snow and ice has frozen jets in Munich, bound for Dubai's global warming conference. So airports frozen. Get a little video. Weighted this thing down so bad. Uh, Tail end frozen to the runway. Uh, can't make it to that global warming conference. Time to call it climate change. Um, but you can just see crazy amounts of snow. This is cool. So you go looking some of this stuff up. I had not seen this before. Some of you are probably familiar with this. I was not until the other day. 3/4 of Ventusky.com. 3/4 of Europe is currently covered in snow. In the southern regions of Central Europe, record snow heights are measured for the beginning of December. So 75% of Europe, I've seen 60% of Europe. Here's the website. This is pretty cool. Look at this. You can see where snow's covered. It's like, let's go to Moscow. How much snow do they have there? About 10 inches of cover right now. Head toward Minsk. We got about 14 inches of snow on the ground. Go down into the Alps. Okay, 45 inches there in Italy or northern Italy. 6 inches, just 6 inches now in Munich, but you get the idea. Kyiv, about 6 inches of snow cover. But we'll back this out, and you can see how much snow. And of course, we go north into Scandinavia, 16, 22 inches of cover of snow is the idea. So, cool website. Really neat to look at. Shows you how much snow is on the ground. Again, that's Ventusky or Ventusky. I don't know. It's European. Check it out if you find it interesting. So, and we're going to close with that. So, a lot of natural disaster kind of stuff going on this week. And of course, this will ramp up on a global level at some point in the future. I think we're seeing birth pangs. We're not in the tribulation yet. I'm of the opinion when we get there, you will not have to ask the question, are we there yet? It's like the kid sitting in the back seat of the car. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? You won't have to ask that when it's on. So at any rate, appreciate you guys following along. And quick shout out. 65 GTO Trips was the guy who on X gave me the link to Congresswoman Stefanik's comments. Appreciate the link, posting it on X and following along. So quick thank you. Much appreciated. At any rate, if you are not a member or a follower of the blog, type in your email address here, hit subscribe. You'll receive notification every time we put something out. Been kind of busy here for the last few months, especially, over the last year or so, since Russia went into Ukraine. And then we've had, since October 7, going on 2 months now, activity in the Gaza Strip, rockets being fired into Israel, things taking place north in Lebanon, a little bit of activity in the West Bank. Ezekiel's crew's becoming stronger, more allied, and at some point we know it's going to happen. Keep your eyes on Damascus. Personal opinion here, I think they're the ones that may get it big time. And that's what maybe will unite the world against Israel and tell them, you're on your own. So we'll see. Time will tell. If anything I've learned, this thing will have many twists and turns as we move forward toward the end game of Jesus returning. Y'all take care. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Bye.